So I've been going through a really hard time lately, and some deep challenges are coming up, um, and some old patterns have been kicking in, and it's been quite hard to be with myself, to be with certain parts of myself. And so when things are going this way, it's very important to bring self-love and self-compassion, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. So if you want to hear a little bit more about this, stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Goodness with Dr. Manu. And if you see that red button on the left side of the screen that says subscribe, if you click on it, you'll uh, help me grow this channel, and you can get notifications as to when I post more videos. So feel free to do so. And now let's jump into the topic of self-compassion and self-love. Today I don't have any um, adventure into the unconscious or any character to talk about these things. Um, it's just gonna be me sharing my personal experience with this and my knowledge about it. And first I want to start by saying that it's easy to feel self-love and self-compassion and all of those things when things are going well, when we're feeling good, when reality is conforming to our expectations and our ideas. But when not, when things are really difficult, when things are not going our way, when old habits and patterns are coming in and we feel we have no control over them, and it just can get really hard. So self-hatred can come up, and there's certain pockets of our consciousness, of our experience, that we don't accept, and we all have this. And so when they show up, our tendency is to try to reject them, to try to get rid of them. There is a certain self-attack that can happen. So working with self-love, self-compassion with these places is quite the challenge, but it's so important, because as we love and accept the different parts of ourselves, as we become attuned and we give those parts what they didn't get, because those parts are usually pockets of consciousness that have been frozen in time because they didn't get something that we as little ones didn't get, something that was needed. Attention, love. We got rejected for being ourselves. Or our parents' own traumas and or cultural traumas get transmitted onto us, and so all of those parts that we tend to reject are unconscious, they're hidden, and they're old. So when they come up, we need to give them what they didn't get: love. Alright, so some ways to invoke or bring in this sense of self-love and self-compassion. And one is to have some kind of phrases that you recite, and this comes from the Buddhist tradition, and there's different versions of it, and depending on the particular lineage, there's different variations of it. I'm not gonna get into any of that. I'm just gonna give you the basic, because the intention is to, from the heart, say a couple or a few phrases that are meant to bring some goodness for ourselves. So ones, for example, that I've been doing, and it's really sweet, is to tell myself, I accept myself, I forgive myself, I love myself. And I repeat those three, and it's not a mental exercise, because if it's just a mental thing, it's not really doing it. And initially may be mental and may be a little artificial, but it's really important to really breathe into the heart area, into the chest space. And when you say the phrase, like, really feel that space there. And some pain may come up, some grief may start showing up, because that may, the phrase itself may start bringing up some pain. So then you soften towards that, and you dedicate the phrase towards that's coming up. So, may I, and again, it could be whatever phrase or good message that you're giving towards yourself. I can't emphasize enough that this is not to try to get rid or reject the pain or the grief or the contraction that we are experiencing, but to support it. It's a very subtle distinction. People will use these phrases as a way to self-reject, so they will what's the word? They will, it will become more ammunition for the inner critic and for the self-hatred to be. So it's a very subtle thing. Notice, is this opening up, and are you meeting these places? Or are you just in a battle within yourself? Another way is touch, self-touch, and I do that a lot. We hug ourselves. We just feel, and then focusing on the nourishment that the touch provides. So even right now, as I'm touching myself, I feel this little squeeze that I'm doing, and there's a comfort that provides, and I feel my heart feels nourished and soothed a little bit. So I feel that it's subtle things. It's not like intense, big expressions or feelings, but when you notice that the little bit of it, you pay attention to that. Your attention goes into that sensation, that of soothing, of pleasure, of goodness, and you stay with that. Again, the challenge is going to still be there. We're not trying to get rid of the challenge. We're trying to support it. We're trying to provide it more space so that it can be free to reveal its energy, to reveal itself, and to further along our path. One of my teachers says, the obstacles are the path. The challenges that come in our life, and often internal, sometimes external, whatever shows up in our path that we don't like, that we want to push away, is our path itself. So that the more we can turn towards it in kindness and openness, the more it will reveal what it's meant to reveal, and our process will be furthered along. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I actually right now, as I'm looking at this and as I'm feeling, I feel a sense of nourishment myself. So even doing this video, it's like a resource for me right now. And I feel sweetness even in my smile. My heart feels soft and open. There is a little bit of a tenderness, and the place that I've been struggling with that shows up in my body as well is has like a tenderness to it. There's still a little bit of pain with it, and I'm just like open to it. And there's a lot of heart right now and a lot of sweetness. And it's very nice. So thank you all for watching and for letting me, however this goes, I'm giving this message and you're receiving it, but because I'm giving this message, I'm getting nourished by it. So I really appreciate that. And may we all have juicy and luscious hearts, solid grounded, planted bellies, clear, sharp, open minds. Woo!